Shalom. Hey, shalom, shalom. Okay. Before I begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, the honor smoter apostle, the peace and salutations to hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharium, and the house of David, that's been preordained, predestined to get delivered in these last times, and to be the ruling governing body of the nation Yash'Allah. Okay? Come back at you to prophesy the downfall of America, aka Babylon. Alright, we are at the end of this Edomite system, alright? The so-called white man, we're at the end of his kingdom. Okay? And Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name is Yahushai. And his true image looks like a so-called Negro, by the way, from the tribe of Judah. He's going to return and deliver the elect from the four corners of the earth. All right? America, again, is going to get destroyed by ICBMs. Okay? This white man, this so-called white man, his real nationality is the Edomites. All right? He's going to mandate an RFID chip. Okay? And then after that, it's going to be what? World War III. Okay, and in the midst of World War III, Yahushai is going to return, and he's going to deliver the elect and establish his kingdom, which will be upon this earth. Okay, so you know, hey, a lot going on. Like always, you know, definitely, you know, we're definitely in the end times, end seconds, man. All right, what 3 governments is collapsing? All right, I believe it's Japan, Germany, and Nepal. Nepal is like just collapsed. The Gen Z, you know, of Nepal, the youth, they're rebuilding their own government on a Discord. All right. You have Japan, higher authorities in Japan, they just left. All right. Germany is collapsing. Okay. So you're seeing the collapse of this system. All right. And really, what's going on, these elites, they're going to set up new puppets, because that's what they are. They're just puppets, all right? And they're going to bring in a biometric system, okay? And it's all gearing up for what? For the New World Order, all right? To mandate an RFID chip, okay? Pursuant to Revelation 13, verse 16, all right? Watch, Nepal, watch. You're going to see Nepal, they're going to elect some official, some guy, all right? Some puppet. He might be cool, but he's going to set up a biometric system. All right? I was just thinking about that the other night. You know? You see? So, it's beautiful times we're in, man. All right? Let me get Revelation down. Hopefully it don't rain. It was just perfect earlier. Well, it wasn't really perfect, but all of a sudden when it rained down. Hey. Try, though. I'm going to try, you know. I'll keep going, because I just feel droplets on me. Like, damn, it just had to come out of nowhere, didn't it? I'd rather the weather happened, they'll say it was good. So much for that, right? All right, so this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed Mashiach." Right? Okay, because salvation is very near. All right, so we gotta hold fast, you know, endure in this truth, okay, and endure these trying times, because it's gonna get very chaotic, man. Like, I was just thinking about this, meditating on it yesterday. Like, man, one day all this is gonna end. One day, because these elites are gonna collapse this place. One day you're gonna really be on the run. You know, you're gonna be plastered, you know, on the television, whatever, on social media, wanted. All right, we're gonna be slandered, you know. It's gonna be no food, no electricity. All right, but Yahweh Shemashah is gonna take care of us. But we're gonna be tried, man. The whole world is gonna be tried. Okay. So you know, we're gonna be tried. Okay, and you have to endure into the end. All right, this is not no light thing, man. This is why we make our call and election short. All right, because one day again, all of this will end. All right, the way this governmental system is going, they're about to collapse this place, man. You can see it if you're really watching. All right, you can really see that these elites are now they're pushing it. 2026 is going to be very wild. But one day, it's going to just be economic collapse, no food, no electricity. You're going to just have to just be on the move, be like pilgrims. All right? Like it says in 2nd Ezra 16, verse 40. All right, let me get that real quick. Okay? 2nd Ezra 16, verse 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle." All right, and we're getting ready spiritually, man. All right, this is how we're getting ready through this word. All right, and also, brothers, take care of yourself. All right, you work out, okay? You become more disciplined. You fix up your diet. All right, like it says in Ecclesiastes 38 chapter, okay, that the Lord created medicines out of the earth. All right, try to eat less processed foods and ultimately take care of yourself. All right, you take care of yourself. That's how you show that you love yourself, right? You take care of your well-being. But really, we're getting ready spiritually, all right? Because again, we're coming to a time where when they shut down this government, when they cause the economic collapse, these elites, these international banking families, all right? It's called order out of chaos, all right? Order out of chaos, the Hegelian dialect, all right? Problem, reaction, solution, because the reaction is going to be these people going wild when they cause the problem, all right? Just total collapse of the system. And the solution is going to be what? The RFID chip. But we're going to be outside the grid system, constantly on the move, man. All right? Just keeping our faith in Yahweh Bashim Ashai. Damn, it just had to just, man. Sloppy out there. I did not know it was going to rain. I checked the weather and everything. All right, but I'm going to keep going, man. I should have brought my umbrella, really. Shit. Some of my spirit told me to bring my umbrella, too. I don't know, I had like an image of that. But hey, whatever, man. It might stop, though. All right, hopefully. It don't look too bad. But let me keep reading, man. It says, "And in those evils," all right, because we're definitely in the evil days, man, okay? "Be even as pilgrims upon the earth." Right? A pilgrim is constantly moving. All right? A pilgrim doesn't stay in just one place. They're constantly moving. So that's how we're going to be in these days of evil, man. All right? Let me just, I ain't trying to get my scriptures wet. All right, fuck it. I'm just going to stay out here. Keep going. All right? But in those evils, be as pilgrims. Okay? That's how we're going to just be, that's how we're going to be, just constantly moving. But guess what? Yahweh Bashim Ashai is going to be with us. All right? It says in Isaiah the 65th chapter how the Lord is going to feed us. All right? We're going to drink. Basically, he's going to sustain us. Okay? While it's going to be the opposite. All right? So let's go back to Revelation chapter 12, verse 10 again. Okay, and it says, start at the top again, all right? And it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach." It says Christ, but we're not going to say that word. "For the accuser of our brethren is cast down," right? Hey, because Esau accuses us, man. But the thing is, though, this man, he's the one that sets up the trap, and Jake falls into it. But he was the one that supplied us with drugs, all right, made us, made our music like low vibrational. How now music's talking about drugs and killing. Esau made us do that, man. And who controls the music, man? All right, the small hats, okay? They control the music industry. Because Amalek is in control of the whole world right now. Edomites are ruling this earth. It's their kingdom, but who's like the head tribe of it is Amalek. All right, the so-called, JWO. So I gotta be, careful with my words. Okay. Now I hope it stops raining because this is ridiculous, bro. Never again will I check the weather app ever. No, I'm playing. Damn, it said like 7%. Well, it's way more than 7%. All right, it might stop, but I'm just gonna keep going, man. Maybe Yahweh Bashim Ashai might just, close up the clouds real quick. Hopefully. All right, but Esau accuses us, man. Okay, he sets up the trap, and then he points the finger like, "See, look, Lord, look what your people are doing. But you made our people go off. All right, you caused division in the household. Okay, you got rid of the man out the house, especially towards Judah. All right, you gave goodies to the so-called black woman, got the black man out the house, all right? You make up these laws, and like, even though they wicked, of course, Jake selling weed and all that, but now this nigga will legalize weed. But here it is, you got Jake in prison, in jail for selling weed. But now this man wants to legalize it in some states, all right? And now the prison industrial is filled with what? It's filled with Jakes, filled with so-called blacks and Latinos, all right? So again, this man will set up the trap and point the finger, all right? You watch a commercial, it can be a goddamn Sonic commercial or whatever. What's that place that just sells ice cream? Either way, this shit would just be filled with, you'll see an ice cream cone with bacon on it. I'm like, God damn, like, why is it gotta be bacon? How come it can't be chicken? Which is weird anyways, but they again, these elites, they know who we are. They know who our power is. They know that, if they keep us separate from our power, all right, they win. But guess what? You forgot about the elect. And this spiritual temple, this third temple that's being rebuilt, you can't touch it, man. Okay? Because this spiritual temple is each individual, each man, each elect member. And Esau can't touch this, man. He can't touch the spirit. You see, he can touch the physical, and he can grab some brothers and, take them to a jail, a prison, all right? Ultimately, cut off our head, because that's, prophesied. Like, some brothers will have to go through that. But guess what? The Lord's going to give you a mighty spirit to do it. But guess what? You ain't going to touch all the elect. And once this man starts trying to grab the elect, the Lord's going to lift up that standard, man, and give us spiritual power, all right? So you're going to see mighty works out here, man. And you got to believe in that. Brothers going to get healed. Some brothers, that believe in truth. You may be blind. You may be, like lame. You can't walk. But guess what? The Lord's going to heal you, and you got to believe that, man. Yahushua said we're going to do miracles greater than him, all right? So there's going to come a time where the Lord's going to perform. He's going to, make brothers do these divine miracles, man. And it's all to give praise unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, all right? You see? Because, hey, we don't know where we're going to be at. We don't know how we're going to eat, what we're going to drink, all right? You might be split up with your family or split up from your family. You might be taken to a concentration camp, but the Lord's going to be with you. And he's going to sustain you, man. Or even through death. Because guess what? It says in what? 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, how the dead Hamashiach is going to rise first. All right? And you got to believe that, man. All right? You have to believe that you're going to come right back, man. All right? Resurrection, But let me go to Habakkuk. Going back to, how this man accuses us. Because, again, Esau was set the trap. And our people are gone. They just so wicked now. It's like Jake just willingly wicked. Okay? But again, Esau is he's the one that set it up for us to go off, like, in so many ways. All right? Put drugs in the community, guns, You know what I'm saying? Social programming, all right? The music, which is a vibration. Now our people just want to sell drugs and murder each other. Commit adultery with each other's women, all right? All right, it's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. It says, "Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness." So you gave us that bottle, basically. All right, essentially, you gave us that bottle, made us drunk. All right, and you're looking upon our nakedness. Now you point the finger like, look, Lord, look what your people are doing. But who gave us the bottle in the first place? All right, you see. And when we think about it, Esau, he's like our closest relative, if you will, because he was Jacob's twin brother. All right. So you accuse your own neighbor. All right. You give us the bottle, you set the trap, but then you try to blame us. You try to point the finger. All right. But no, you're the one that did it. Okay. And you're messing up the whole planet. See, there's so many ways the Lord can get you, man. Here it is, you're ruling the whole earth, and you're destroying it, all right? Now, granted, the earth is it's still beautiful, but you're destroying wildlife. You have certain creatures in the ocean, all right, that's just killing themselves, man. They'll rather a whale will rather go on shore and die than be in polluted waters, okay? Because you Edomites, you just pollute it, all right? Remember the whole incident with BP, the British oil company? There was like an oil spill in the Gulf. That wildlife, that definitely destroyed a lot of wildlife, man. Okay. You take out certain creatures that's supposed to be, like natural bottom feeders. Okay. And now you sell it as like delicacies, like shrimp, lobster, crab. All right, and we're not supposed to eat that thing. We're not supposed to eat those type of foods. Leviticus the 11th chapter, man. The dietary laws. You're not supposed to eat pork, shrimp. Just read it. All right, it shows you what to eat and what not to eat, man. And Jacob be like, why it tastes so good? Yeah, it might taste good, but it's not good for you, It's the reason the Most High is such a perfect power, and He made everything to be a balance. And these laws, statute, commandments that we follow is really a way how to live on this earth properly. Okay, you're not supposed to eat shrimp and pork. Why? Because those are bottom feeders. Okay, a pig's duty is really to clean the farm. Clean the farm. A shrimp, he's at the bottom of the ocean. All right, he's the feces and all that. It's to cleanse the ocean. Okay, that's why oysters, same thing. You see, but this man will get it, sell it as a delicacy, as food, and Jake will just eat it. All right. It says, well, that was it. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 2, 12, verse 10 again. Right, I'll read the last part. It says, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Lord day and night. Right. But hey, this is speaking in like future tense because Esau is gonna come down, man. All right. He's gonna be cast down. Okay. Especially once Yahushua returns, that's it. All right. Once America gets nuked and Yahushua returns, moments before that, delivers the elect. All right, that's it. This man's system is going to be done with. Okay. And the beautiful part is that we're telling you elites what's going to happen. We're telling you elites what's going to happen, man. Okay. So hey, you brothers may get right now. All right. Speaking to myself, tap in the spirit more. Because it's going to get so freaking crazy out here, man. Newly created creatures. I was just meditating on this yesterday. Like, man, I had to really meditate. Like, man, Esau's you're going to have to be in the run. You might go a day or two without eating. You might be separated from your loved ones. Esau might grab one of your children. Who knows, man? And point the gun at them and say, hey, if you don't get this. And you gotta have to, hey, Rakataya, how about Shemashai, man? You're gonna see your children again. You're gonna see your loved ones again, man. All right. We gotta get out of this, out of this carnal spirit. All right. Tap more into the spirit, man. Okay. That's how we win. You gotta just have faith in Yahweh Shemashai. Okay. I was just meditating on that yesterday. Like, man, it's gonna be crazy out here, man. Diseases and man-made viruses. This man's gonna release a fucking cyborg Terminator, just trying to capture you, running after you and shit. All right. You might be starting in your mind, but your spirit, hey, if you've been built up, the Lord's gonna be with you. You're gonna be like, all right, hey, hey, the Lord's with me. All right. You're gonna just keep enduring, whatever it may be. Okay. Whatever it may be, man. All right. And I also want to mention, just going to this, because today it is the memorial of blowing of the trumpets, all right, or Feast of Trumpets. So, it's the 7th month. That's when the Feast of Trumpets is the 7th month of the first day of the 7th month. All right, so let me go into Leviticus 23. Let me just grab this real quick, all right? Because, it is that day, okay? And then September 30th is the Day of Atonement where we fast. What is it? Tuesday, I believe? Yeah. But either way, September 30th at sunset, that's when, you know, you fast, the Day of Atonement. Okay? And you just ask Yahweh B'Shem Ashad to forgive you all your sins and just, you know, just stay in the spirit that day. All right, from sunset to sunset. So September 31st to October 1st. All right, so let me get Leviticus. Let me get Leviticus 23. All right, Leviticus 23 verse. Let's see. All right, verse 24, and it says, and the title is Trumpets, Prophetic of Future Regathering of Israel. See, that's the spirit, man. Because hey, the Lord is going to gather us, all right? But starting with the elect, okay? And it says, verse 23, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month. You see, and we're in that day. All right, this is actually technically the 7th month. All right, the 1st day of the 7th month. And that's also in the scriptures how this man will change times, because we're going off a Gregorian calendar. All right, you know, so the times and, you know, is all off according to this man. You see, so we're technically in the 7th month, not, you know, in the 9th. All right, and it says, on the 1st day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, well, that was it. That was it. Well, actually, no, I'll keep going. Also on the 10th day, because we're about to have that Day of Atonement, right? This is it. Of the 7th month, there shall be a Day of Atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls. You do that by fasting, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And you shall do no work in that same day, for it is the Day of Atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your power. All right? And you know, we understand we're in slavery, we're in captivity, we're in Babylon. So some brothers might have to work, but hey, just, you know, go to your job but fast. So just focus on that fast. And ultimately, Yahushua is our atonement for our sins. So focus on that, you know, just get that fasting. All right? So sunset to sunset, you know, just get your last food, water, 30 minutes before the sunset, because, you know, it takes 30 minutes for your food to digest. That's how I like to do it, at least. All right? But once the sunset, that's it. No more eating, no water, nothing. You fast. All right? Until the next day, and then when it's sunset again, that's when it's over. Okay? Because technically, that's when a day, actually, like a new day comes in, when it's sunset. All right? That's technically when a new day comes in. See, this devil, he'll make a new day come in the middle of the night at midnight. You know, it's stupid. It's like, how do you know? You know, like, no, the new day comes in when the sun goes down. That's the new day. All right? And it makes sense that way. All right? It makes sense, you know? And in that morning, all right, then the morning comes, and, you know, and then the day is at its peak, you know, once it gets like, you know, to 12, all right, and it starts to go down, and it restarts again at sunset. All right, and then, you know, and then go into night, and yeah. All right, and then like a repeat cycle. So I just want to continue reading this because I wrote down. So the purpose and meaning, all right, of this memorial, it says, memorial. It is a reminder for the Most High's people to reflect, remember, and prepare. All right, because judgment is coming. You know, judgment is coming upon this earth, so we gotta prepare ourselves spiritually. Some interpret it as remembering the covenant with the Most High, blowing the trumpets, shofars, which is like a ram's horn. The blasts of the ram's horn were used in Israel for, and I wrote it down. It says, calling the, I don't like to use the word community together, but calling the nation together, announcing the Most High's presence or kingship, signaling war or warning. And hey, we are blowing this trumpet every time we go out here as well. You know, we're blowing the trumpet spiritually. All right, we're coming out here. Okay. Hey, actually, let me get that. Actually, shoot, let me Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58, verse 1. It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people. See, my people, all right? That's a possessive word, mine. Okay? So who's the Lord's people? The Israelites. The Israelites consist of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. However, we have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So we're going to look like other nations because, you know, we're dwelling in that land for so long, dealing with the women. Over time, your offspring's going to look different, right? So, you know, Israelites were scattered all throughout the world, looking different, speaking different languages. All right, it's not a color thing, okay? You know, it is a spiritual thing, okay? Where it says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and that's what we're doing. We come out here and prophesy. Shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins, right? And again, we're coming out here, we prophesy, we tell the people to repent. But ultimately, this is for the elect anyways, all right? You know, we already know 2/3 of our own people are going to die out here. They're going to perish, all right? We already know that's going to happen. Zechariah, the 13th chapter, verse 8, okay? So that was it on that. Let me continue reading. All right, and it says, heralding sacred times and events. All right. Because of this, the trumpet blast on this day symbolized awakening the people spiritually, calling them to repent, prepare for judgment, and recognize the Most High as King. Right. That was it, you know. See? But a day to remember, all right? You know, a day to remember, but also said what? To prepare. Because judgment is coming, man. Judgment is coming. Okay? Judgment is coming in a big way. All right? And I wrote this down. All right? How, because the way this thing is going, man, hell, we're already like in a police state, man. Trump is sending more troops, deploying more troops to certain, you know, sections in America. All right? And it's becoming a police state, man. Hey, he just, Elder Yashawamba, you know, his channel Remnant Save 144, he was going into how Trump was bringing up Antifa, you know, short for like anti-fascists. And hey, he's going to lump us Israelites in that group in like a terrorist organization, even though we're not, all right? We're not no terrorist organization. We don't condone that. We don't preach that message because we know that we're supposed to wait on the Lord, all right? We know that. Actually, let me get Romans 12, verse 19. It says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay it, saith the Lord. All right? So we know that you know, vengeance of the Lord, and we gotta wait upon him. You can't go against this Edomite, you can't go against this man in his own kingdom, his own system. Why? Because remember the blessing Isaac gave unto him with the sword. All right? Ever since, you know, Esau became established, you know, his few empires, all right, because it's the Roman Empire revived all over again. But when he was established as a Greek empire, that's how he conquered, with the sword. The same thing with the Romans, even more. All right, with that sword, you know? So you can't go against this man in his own system. You're going to perish. And then you also, damn, keep dropping my scriptures. Like, you also, you know, you're technically going against the Most High if you do that, man. All right? So let me get, I wrote this down. It says, a police state is a form of government where authorities maintain strict control over the population, often through heavy surveillance, suppression of freedoms, and reliance on police or security forces to enforce laws and order. All right, so again, heavy surveillance. Do we not live in a nation now where everything has cameras? I'm looking at these stoplights, cameras on each and every one of them. All right, and again, this man wants to set up his biometric system, all right, and surveil you, and also put that chip on you to have total control. Oh, by the way, Elon Musk, his corporation Neuralink, all right, what deals with, you know, implantable chips implanted into your frontal lobe, all right? Okay, which, you know, scriptures go into that. Okay, and when it says in your head in Revelation 13 verse 16, that Greek word is metapon, all right? Metapon meaning your frontal lobe, and the motor functions, the functions of your frontal lobe controls movement, how you think, all right? It processes, you know, thinking, okay? And people that get that chip, they can move like the cursor from the mouse with their mind, all right? People that are like disabled, you know, they can do things. Basically, this man, he's trying to perform miracles on the left-hand side, all right? People that have like paralysis, if they get that implantable chip, now they can, you know, they can move, or their symptoms just are halted, right? Okay? That's how this man's going to come to you. He's going to come to you in a way where, look, we can heal your ailments, you know? All you got to do is get this chip. You might be a paraplegic, or, you know, you can't move. You know, we hook you up to this, you know, give you like a bionic body with a chip. Now you can move and all that. Okay? It says, again, suppression of freedoms. Hey, suppression of freedom. Okay? And what the scripture I'm thinking of is famine the word. All right? That's what I think of when I think of suppression of freedoms. Okay? That's one of them. Because ultimately this man's going, you know, the RFID chip. If you don't get that chip, you living outside his smart cities, outside his society. And really he's going to put you to death anyways. Make an example, put fear into the people. All right? See? So let me get Revelation 13, verse 16. It says, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right? Now, mark in the Greek is charagma, meaning that's the chip. The root word of that is charax, the needle. That's how it's going to be injected by, to be delivered by. All right? That's that delivery system. And then the latter root word of that is graphos, meaning data, database, writings here. All your information is going to be stored on that chip, you know? And it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So you're not going to be able to sell, buy, nothing. Suppression of freedoms, you know? You won't be able to live and function in this society unless you get that chip. Guess what? We're going to be outside the system, man. We don't give a damn. We serve Yahweh B'Shem Shai, all right? And even if it comes to death, man, fuck it. Hey, cut my head off, all right? Another thing I was meditating on yesterday, man, it's going to come to, if Esau gets you, either take the chip or cut your head off, all right? Hey, you got to be all the way, hey, fuck it, cut my head off, all right? You know what I'm saying? I'll come right back. I'm going to come right back, all right? You got to be like the brothers, them 7 brothers in First Maccabees, man. I believe it's the 7th chapter, okay? How they were just, you know, courageous. They didn't bow down unto, I believe it was Antiochus at that time, okay? It was Antiochus, I believe Epiphanes. They didn't bow down. They didn't, you know, swine, because Antiochus was, you know, because those Greek generals, all right, well, the offspring of those Greek generals, so you had Ptolemy, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Cassander. Over time, their offspring was ruling, all right, and they were Hellenizing Jake, man. And they will force Jake to do abominable things to separate us from our power, okay? And there's one event, if you read First Maccabees, I believe the 7th chapter, all right? It goes into those 7 brothers, man, and they didn't bow the knee, basically, all right? Just like, hey, again, in the Babylonian Empire, all right? 3 holy children, all right? Let me see if I can get their names real quick. I'm gonna get the Hebrew, actually, not their Babylonian names. Right, it says, let me see. I mean, this is the Babylonian name, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Oh, that's their Babylonian names. Okay? But they didn't bow the knee. Okay? And they were put in a fiery furnace. Hey, how you doing, man? Hey, Shalom. Shalom. And they were put in a fiery furnace, right? But they didn't bow the knee. But guess what? Hey, you know, Nebuchadnezzar sent a guard, just roughly paraphrasing everything. Nebuchadnezzar sent a guard to turn up the fire so high that even the guard got killed. All right? And then basically one of the men said, like, sir, like, I know we put 3 men in there, but who's that 4th man? All right, because they seen 4 individuals, and that was the Lord. That was Yahushua, man. All right, that was the Lord with them. All right, and they didn't burn. There was not even a smell of smoke on their clothing. And that's when Nebuchadnezzar knew, like, hey, man, hey, your power is real. All right, and got them out of there. Okay, that shows you that, hey, Yahweh Shemashah can do anything. All right, He's going to deliver us in such crazy divine ways, man. You gotta believe in that. And we're not, again, we're not gonna bow the knee, man. All right, Lord willing, whoever's listening, myself included, we in that spirit all the way to the end. All right. Okay. And it says, continue on. It says, in reliance on police or security forces to enforce laws and order. All right. And this man's gonna come out with more draconian measures, all right, draconian, going back to like harsh laws, okay? Harsh laws, man. Laws where it's like, everything's going to be by death, all right? The penalty is just death, okay? Because you got a king, I forgot what time period, but, you know, draconian, go back to, I think his name was Draco, that was, you know, it was Draco, and he was like a cruel lord, he was a cruel king, all right? He'll give you like something that was very minor, but he'll give you a harsh punishment. Okay? That's how Esau's gonna come, man. Alright? It says, in such a system, citizens, alright, he's gonna set up his Gurkha troops, you know? He's gonna bring in like these, I believe, mercenary troops from different countries to do his bidding. Alright? Just demonic military troops, man, with a chip in them. Do his bidding, all right? Like satanic troops, man. All right? Like a secret police force, if you will. It says, in such a system, citizens typically have little to no privacy, right? You want no privacy, because this man got to surveil you, all right? And he ultimately wants to try to, the whole ultimate goal is to try to destroy the Israelites, man. Okay? That's the whole ultimate goal. To keep us totally separate from our power, all right? Because again, if he does that, he gets the upper hand. All right, but he won't be able to do that because the Lord has His elect, man. Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Why do the heathen rage? The people imagine a vain thing." Right, the vain thing is in the water. It says, "The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and His anointed." The Lord's anointed is the Israelites, man. All right, saying, "Let us break their bands asunder, cast away their cords from us." All right, and that's basically talking about like our relationship, ultimately our heritage. All right, who you are as Israelites, man. And they did that. They put bywords on us. All right, again, they set up all these traps and to keep us separate from our power. All right, and I'm gonna go back to this now. It says, in such a system, citizens typically have little to no privacy, freedom of speech, or political dissent, since the state uses intimidation, propaganda, all right, they're controlling the narrative, and force to maintain power. And they're gonna soon set up just such a false narrative against these Israelites. That's why you other Israelites that's doing carnal shit, like you just giving this devil ammo, man. Like it's very stupid of you. All right, we're supposed to be applying wisdom out here, man. But you other Israelites, man, to hell with y'all, man. Okay, you're not in order. You're doing, you just trying to get money. You grifter. All right, you're making a gimmick out of this, man. The Lord's gonna see you, man. All right, the Lord's gonna see you. And that's no threat either, man. That's a promise. So to you brothers that's sincere, again, just get right, stay in spirit, endure. All right, stay in the spirit by studying this word, watching your videos, do your lessons, applying wisdom out here. It says, you got certain Israelites bringing guns to camps and shit. Now, nothing wrong with having, a gun, but showing it, alluding it to the truth, bro. It's not a good look, man. All right, it's not a good look at all. It says, enforce and maintain power. All right. Now, these are the characteristics of a police state. It says, mass surveillance. Citizens are constantly monitored, so by phones, internet, cameras, which these elites, they're already monitoring us. I mean, yeah, the government is really monitoring us, man. Through phones, cell phones, all that, man. Okay. It says, suppression of dissent. All right. Protests. Critical. So any disagreement. All right. So you can't even disagree. All right. Us, what we're doing right now, this is gonna be cut off. All right, family of the word. What is that? Amos. Because we're proclaiming this man's system, telling, prophesying his downfall, and calling him out on his wickedness, man. But soon, watch, that's gonna end. All right. So get this word while you can, man. Okay. Let me get that in Amos. Give me 1 second. Try to get the scripture. Give me 1 second. Try to get that famine the word. Try to find this lock here. I be knowing the scriptures, but sometimes it's like, man. So if you haven't read it in a minute, these bodies that we have, man. I'm a brother with not the best memory. All right, let's see. Yeah, I can't find the scripture. It's lucky. like, I know it's Amos. All right, it'll come back to me later. But yeah, that's what's gonna come. All right, famine the word. Okay, but let me continue reading. All right, and it says, yeah, suppression dissent, so protests, critical journalism, and opposition movements are criminalized. Yeah, you know, and you saw he has this thing called, I think it's like FEMA kill list, red list, blue list, and yellow list, right? And you know, like people like us, we on that red list for sure. All right, but people that's like, you know, whistleblowers, you know, like your Dabus and all that, they on the blue list, man. All right, yellow list, just your average American citizen. Okay, and it says heavy policing, law enforcement, and military have expanded powers with little accountability. Right, I believe Trump, he just made it legal where now, you know, the police can use lethal force. All right, so, you know, hey, wait till that is fully unleashed, man. And it says fear and control. People live under the threat of arrest, imprisonment, or worse if they have opposed the government. Restricted rights. Free speech, free press, free assembly, and fair trials are severely limited or eliminated, right? Again, fam the word, man. All right, oh, they're going to cut off the internet for sure. All right? And they got to cut off the internet because because the internet is just like pushing out so much information. All right, especially like social media like TikTok. Now, you know, these elites, now they're trying to gain control over TikTok and all that. All right, but you can get information all day. Okay, and ultimately they're trying to get rid of the truth. All right, what's that in I wrote that down. Look at Daniel. Let me go to that real quick. Look at. Hold on. Right, Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. All right, and now the seals has been opened because of Yahweh Shai. All right, we have this full knowledge. All right, this 100% truth. We know more than Daniel, okay? But it's this knowledge and understanding, this truth was given unto us by Yahweh Shai. Ultimately, Yahweh Shai's sacrifice opened the seals, like it says in Revelation. Real quick, let me just get it. Because you guys, this is how, man, Yahweh Shai is important at so many levels, man. He's our power, our creator as well. Okay, if in case you didn't know, all right, died for the nation of Israel, brought us back to the Heavenly Father. Okay, reconciliation. All right. And he opened up the seals. All right, he loosened up the seals, so now we have this understanding and this truth. Okay, what's that in? I believe it's in Revelation 5. Right, Revelation 5, verse. Let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. I believe it's verse. Let me see. Yeah, here it is, verse 5, and it says. And one of the elders saith unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. All right, so the 7 seals it represents his truth. All right, this knowledge. And it says, and I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as they have been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High, sent forth into all the earth. Okay, so, you know, Yahweh Shai, he actually, let me go to verse, so I can bug on me. Let me go to verse 3 real quick. It says, and no man in heaven, see no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Right, you know, this truth, this knowledge. And I wept much because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. But guess what? Who was found worthy? Yahweh Shai. All right, and his sacrifice, what he did, he brought us back to Heavenly Father, and he loosened the 7 seals. So now the elect has this knowledge. Now we have this full understanding of this word. All right, and we can the prophecies, man. All right, you see how the conductor says as well. But now we see these other camps. That's how you know they don't have this full truth, man. Because they'll go off on doctrine, say the RFID chip is not the mark of the beast, something. But we have this full doctrine. We have this full understanding, okay? And the Lord set up teachers, our apostles and elders, all right, to teach us, to guide us, okay? Because everything it has an order, all right? You understand? Like, you know, who was it? Philip that ran up on the Ethiopian eunuch. You know, he was reading Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. You know, he was reading the scrolls. He asked him, understand this without readers? All right? He said, how can I unless a man teach us? All right? So you have a man, so the Lord, you know, established teachers upon this earth, all right? To teach us, to guide us, okay? Well, the inspiration, the understanding, the full understanding is all given from on high, from Yahweh Bashem Shah, okay? All right? And, hey, a lot of us woke up, you know, well, I mean, you know, like the first wave of brothers, 2007. Of course, in the 90s and all that, you know, the elders, but it was like mainly just New York, all right? It was mainly New York, man, you know, but, Shalom, 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 Shalom. You got a question? Oh, okay, oh, hey, thank you. Okay, thank you, man. All right, Shalom, Shalom. So, like I was, no, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay, man. But you know, it was mainly New York, all right. But then 2007, when YouTube came on, all right. YouTube came like in what, 2005, 2006, all right. But when our elder apostles came on, what they said like June, all right, around the summertime, it was like that's when like the first flock of brothers, and you still have elders still today from that time period. That era, all right? You know, but a lot of us basically woke up from the internet. You know, we were online on YouTube. A lot of us woke up from that. You know, myself, I remember watching videos on YouTube going back to like 2014, man. All right? I mean, really, hey, just a little, you know, testimony, a little story. I mean, I woke up, you know, I was in San Diego, and I remember I walked past Sakari, but they weren't Sakari. I believe Al-Azhar was part of GMS at that time. I don't know. It was like 2014. I remember it was actually New Year's Day. All right, 2014, January 1st. I remember like it was yesterday. It was New Year's Day. I was coming from Long Beach, all right, from my dad's house, going back to San Diego where I was living. All right, and I remember it was Al-Azhar. He wasn't teaching. He was like standing in the background. It was like one brother. I forgot his name, you know, short brother, all right, I think he Judah, but he was teaching. I walked past the camp, and it was really what caught me was the church sign, all right, and I just went, some of my spirit told me to go back, and I went back, and I inquired, all right, hey, that's actually prophecy, man, because I asked him, like, well, what's this, and he said, do you see yourself in the sign? All right, and basically I found out, you know, I was a Gadite, but I got to get the scripture, man. All right, just a quick little testimony, you know. Quick little testimony, but that's prophecy. Because hey, that's how you know this church sign is needed, man. You need this church sign when you go out and prophesy. If you think about teaching, you gotta have this church sign with you. All right, you have to. It's part of it, you know. But what's that? Ezekiel 37, verse 15. It says, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, right? So Judah, the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, All right, you can see the sign, but Judah, the so-called African Americans, but remember, we've been scattered as well. All right, Benjamin, your West Indians, you know, Levi, Haitians, okay, and then Ephraim, the Northern Kingdom, the Latinos, and the Native Americans, okay, primarily. But again, we've been scattered, you know. And it says, and join them one to another into one stick. That's the short sign, all right. And it says, and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Oh, it's like that. It says, and join them to one another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? So, like, what is this? All right, Jake might inquire, and he break it down to him. Okay, like, do you see yourself in the sign? All right. And the Lord, he gave us brothers discernment. Some brothers, very good discernment, where they can discern someone's spirit, because you might come and encounter a Jake who may look like like a heathen. He might look like a white person, like an Edomite. But you know in his spirit, he an Israelite. Because again, it's all about your bloodline, about whoever your forefathers are, that's what you are. All right? So the truth is about your ethnicity. Okay? But you might discern that he's an Israelite, you know? Like, yo, Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake, all right? You know, naming a few examples. Bruce Lee, okay? Those are Israelites, man. The type of swag and all that, that's a Jake thing. Only Jake can exude that, all right? They have those traits, okay? And it says, say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. All right? And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, because we've been scattered, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land, right? And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, right? Yahushua, okay, and under, you know, King David, all right? They shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. And it's so beautiful, man, because it's like you're getting a prelude of it, man. I was just on social media earlier on TikTok, all right, on my folly a little bit, but I was just seeing, like, you know, posts, you know, showing like the Terrence Crawford, which, hey, man, he's like the new Mayweather now, man. All right, Terrence Crawford, man, that man, hey, he outboxed Canelo every way. Like his footwork, his precision, you know, Slocky, I love boxing, man. His stamina, his endurance was just phenomenal. All right, but he outboxed Canelo, another Jake Issachar. All right, so Judah and Ephraim, man. But I was just seeing posts how it was basically, if you read the comments, it was showing like, you know, hey, like people were saying, blacks and Hispanics, you know, we down with each other. You know, it was beautiful. It made me almost want to tear up a little bit, man, because we've been separated from each other for centuries, man. Hell, 1,000 years. But now we in the end time, hey, Jeremiah, what, 50? All right, let me go to that real quick. Jeremiah, and hey, you seen Jake come back together, man. But really, Jake is ultimately going to come back together starting with the elect, man. All right? All right, Jeremiah 50, verse 33. It says, thus says the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. All right? And we're oppressed together in America, man. This is where you can find all the tribes, all right, congregated, all right, here in America, man. And it says, and all that took them captives, you know, slavery basically, held them fast, they refused to let them go, all right? And we may not be physically enslaved per se, but, you know, we still in captivity under this man. You just can't do what you want to do, all right? You see? You know, we're still at the lowest of the totem pole. You know, we have no sovereignty. All right, if you even try to come together, hey, well, Jake tried to do that, man. The civil rights movement, man. You see, and people don't read history. They don't understand that it wasn't just Negroes that came together like the Black Panthers. No, it was a lot of brown Latino groups as well, man. Even Filipino groups too. That's how you know a lot of Filipinos. They a lot of them are Israelites, man. They are people as well. All right, that's why a lot of them can, you know, they talented, they can sing, they can, you know, dance. But it was a lot of Northern Kingdom groups as well. All right, standing next to Judah, man. All right, and the Esau, you know, sent the CIA and had to divide that, man. But Jake was, you know, was getting built up, military wise, all that, you know. But hey, but it wasn't the time, man. But around that time era, what Abba Bivens came to the scene, 1969 to 1970. Because if you read, let me get actually Revelation, the 11th chapter. All right, and see, this is what this man fears, man. You see, these elites, man, they don't fear you regular peons, man. They ultimately fear this. This right here fears these international banking families, man. All right, us coming back unto our power, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. Okay, it's Revelation 11 verse. Get to the point too, verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies are spiritually dead, us being separated from our, you know, our power, not knowing our heritage. Going back to Ezekiel 37, all right, dry bones. You know those that basically wander from the congregation, like understanding, are those that wander from understanding this, like, you know, of the Lord, is like of the congregation of the dead, roughly paraphrasing it. So we're like we were literally like the walking dead, not knowing who we were. All right, and it says, and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. And it says, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts. Right, that goes to slavery. All right, and that's another thing a lot of people don't know. During the transatlantic slave trade, all right, it wasn't just our brothers and the so-called Negroes. It was the indigenous as well that was being put on cargo slave ships and sent back to, you know, to the old world, man. All right, you see, a lot of people don't know that history, man. Okay, a lot of indigenous people were put on cargo slave ships and sent to the Americas, man. You're all right. You're all right. Okay, it's okay. All right.
There's gonna be a lot more of them.
But let's go back. Even again, I just mentioned how a lot of Filipinos is our people as well. We had something called the Manila Galleon slave trade. Now, what that was a lot of Filipinos, all right, were put on slave ships and brought to Mexico, Acapulco, man. And then some of them actually ran away, you know, freedmen, and they journeyed into Louisiana, and they were actually the first so-called Asian community that they established. All right, so check that out, man. And you can look that up. That's how I know a lot of them are our people, man. All right, a lot of Cambodians, a lot of them was our people, you know. That's why if you go in the Bay Area, man, that's like all of them, the Southeast Asians be over there, man. But a lot of them is Jake, all right. They be, you know, in the hood, gang banging, all that, man. All right, but hey, that's Jake, man. You know, Jake under the curses. Okay. She said it's gonna be a lot of runners. I'm like, I'm just looking like shit. But let's go back, all right? And it says, verse 11, and it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. All right, so going back into Ezekiel 37, we got that breath, the sinews, you know, the skin. All right, ultimately that breath, which is this understanding of this word. Okay, but that 3 days and a half represents 1619 to 1969. All right, 350 years. Why is that? Because a man named Abba Bivens came on the scene, which, you know, that's Elijah. Actually, let me get it. That's Elijah, if you can receive it. Okay, he was woken up. All right, he was woken up, man. He got this, you know, this understanding. All right, the Lord was, gave them this understanding. But the baton was passed down to elders, and then ultimately to our elder apostles today. All right, so let me get Malachi. All right, let me see. It's Malachi chapter 4, verse chapter 5. All right, and it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." Right. All right. So that was Abba Bivens, Elijah. Okay. Which also proves reincarnation is biblical, man. All right. That also proves reincarnation is biblical because if you go into, let me get it real quick, just to prove that. All right. Let's see. All right, it's Exodus chapter 34, verse 7. It says, "Keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty." Here's the point: visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third and to the fourth generation, because that's when you come back. All right. So again, reincarnation is biblical. All right. When you die, you go back into the heavens. All right. Which proves there's no hell. All right. That was created during the Nicaea Council. Really going back before that. But I'm saying like that doctrine was pushed. That's like it was alluded to. To the Bible. All right. But that goes back to Hades. Some Greek mythology. Fucking what's that dude? Dante Inferno. All right. But when you die, you go to the heavens. You come back down. All right. Like it says in Ecclesiastes. Let me see. I'll get to the point with that one. But you come back every 3 to 4 generations, man. If you do the math on that, that's like roughly around like at least. It can depend really on how fast your forefathers bring you back, man. All right. Shit. What was I gonna get? Ecclesiastes, right? At least in the 3rd chapter, right? Let's see. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 15. "That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High required that which is past," right? So what you did in the past, your past life, all right? It says, "And moreover I saw under the sun, which is the earth, the place of judgment," because this is where judgment is played out. So you go to the heavens, you receive a judgment. When you come back on earth, that's when your judgment is played out according to what you did. It could be a harsh judgment, it could be, a minor, who knows? It's all depending on what you did, and the Most High giving that judgment out. All right, and it says, "In the place of," it's like, "and moreover I saw in the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, the Most High shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work." Right. And see, that shows you again, there's no hell. So when a person dies, whether they were good or wicked, they all go back into the heavens, man. Chilling, at rest, at peace. So you might think of a guy like, Mustache Man, and people say code word, you shouldn't really know, I don't know if I can say it, but Hitler. When he died, he went back to the heavens, all right? Now he probably on here on earth again, man. It says, "I said in mine heart concerning the state of the sons of men, the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts." It gets to a point. It says, verse 20, "All go into one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again." Do you see? So we all go back to one place, the heavens. "Who know the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward? It's the earth." Right. So that was the point. All right. We're going back to Revelation. Did I finish that Malachi? Let me see. I don't know if I did. I got still finished, this what I wrote too. All right, I'm just gonna just finish this Malachi real quick. It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." Well, that was right. That was it. Well, actually, one more. "And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." And that's what he did. All right, waking up, the children of Israel back then. And now, the baton was passed to the elders to now, to elder apostles. All right, and so now we all teach. All right. And again, the internet was like the biggie, like the biggest heavy lifter. Psalms the 19th chapter, man. Okay. So at 350 years, 1619, ultimately Judah was brought over here because slavery was already happening with the northern kingdom first, going back to the late or early 1500s and so on. But when 1619 came, the colonizers, the pilgrims came over here. Really 1607 AD, but 1619, that's when they brought Judah over here. And it was in Virginia. That was the first place. All right. That's a little history. Okay, and it says, verse 11, "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them." Right. So, hey, these elites, they terrified, man. They hate to see this. Because they know, man, that, hey, once we wear our power, it's good. We're going to be on top. And, hey, you elites, hey, do what you can to hey, because 2/3 are going to perish. But, again, you're not going to touch the elect, man. You may grab a few of us, but what I'm trying to say, you can't alter it. You can't, sabotage this in no way, shape, or form. All right? But let me go back to this. Okay? And it says, I was getting this from ChatGPT. But if America became a police state, number one would be civil liberties erode, the Constitution protections like the First and Fourth Amendments will be undermined, right? Freedom of speech, religion. See, they going, this is considered a religion to them, even though it's our heritage. Press and privacy could be curtailed in favor of national security or public order. All right, it says increased surveillance. Every aspect of life, from online activity to financial transaction, it says could be, but it will be monitored. Technology like AI, facial recognition, and drones could be used to track citizens. Ultimately, it's going to be that shit, though. Militarized policing. Police and federal agencies might operate more like an occupying force than public servants, using checkpoints, curfews, and strict punishments. Political repression. Opposition parties, activists, and whistleblowers could be silenced through imprisonment, exile, or worse. I mean, what can get worse than that? Ultimately, death, right? And it says elections might be manipulated or symbolic rather than truly democratic. All right, which that's already been manipulated, man. All right, you don't elect nothing. All right, it's all selected for you. Culture of fear. People will censor themselves in daily life, fearing punishment for expressing acceptable opinions or associations. Economic and social effects. Business, schools, and community will have to conform to state rules. Creativity, innovation, and individuality might be stifled. Trust between citizens could collapse, as some might act as informants. All right, now these are I'm gonna get to real world examples. Let me just check the time. All right. All right, so these are real world examples of an actual police state that happened once upon a time in several nations. Now the first is Nazi Germany, all right, which that happened between 1933 and to 1945, okay? You see, in which, and in that time period, again, it was prophesied that 3 woes would happen. This is when the second woe happened, all right? This is when the second woe came about World War II. Okay? You know, which World War II, that happened in what? I believe it was September 1st, 1939, when they did aerial invasions on Poland. You know, which is crazy because now Putin, Russia, is gradually, I don't want to say attacking yet, but I just saw a video where, you know, he set up like his military against Poland. All right, you know, you can see that on these different alternative news sites. Okay, but it says surveillance and propaganda. It says the Gestapo, which is secret police, are in Germany, monitored silent dissent. All right, so dissent meaning like disagreement. Okay, so hey, any disagreement, any like if you want to vocalize, all right, against the government, that's going to be silence. Okay, and it says Hitler used propaganda to control public opinion and crush opposition. And hell, when you really look at it, man, Hitler wasn't, you know, they try to make it seem like he was just a bad guy, even though he was an Edomite, but he knew the problem were the freaking small heads, man. He knew it. And he was, and it's funny how I go on social media and people say, you know, the mustache man, maybe he wasn't so bad after all. All right, but he knew that they were a problem, man. All right, them Amalekites. Okay? And it wasn't 6 million Jews that died in Europe. That's propaganda, because again, who was controlling the news press, the media back then? Was the small heads, man. There wasn't 6 million Jews in Europe at that time. You can go back and check the census. All right? So how did 6 million Jews die? You know? Like, come on. If anything, yeah, it was more Russian people, soldiers that died. You know, citizens as well. All right? Any a number of group of people. And it says, a lot of them could have been Jake too. All right, and it says, loss of rights. Free press, assembly, and speech were abolished. Citizens lived in fear of being denounced. All right. It says, result, the state dictated every part of life, leading to war crimes, mass persecution, and genocide. The Soviet Union under Stalin, which happened in the 1920s to 1953. All right, secret police. The NKVD later became the KGB, conducted purges, imprisoning or executing millions for being enemies of the state. Controlled thoughts, literature, art, and science were censored. People could be punished for telling jokes about the government. Result, a culture of fear, forced labor camps, gulags, and suppression of individuality. All right, East Germany, 1949 to 1990, Stasi, secret police, one of the most effective surveillance agencies in history. They had informants in nearly every workplace and neighborhood. Limited travel, expression. Citizens couldn't freely leave the country, and disagreement was harshly punished. The result was daily life was lived in suspicion and mistrust, even between family members. And hell, a lot of people are going to sell us out, man, too. When all that hell breaks loose, don't be surprised when your own family sells you out. It says in the scriptures, you know, how mothers shall rise against, you know, how you basically, your